Thank you so much for your clarity and tools.
Yeah.
And your life is supposed to be fun. I love that the most.
Yeah.
So I have this little story. I've been very successful, and this year I decided to take some time. And I've been accused as an overachiever, and I've done very well. However, this year I just let it go.
Who would accuse you of being an overachiever? Underachievers?
That's a good, yeah. Isn't that funny? Yes. You know, I'd have angst about things, and I was driven, kind of.
Driven or called?
I like that distinction.
When you put things in your vortex and that synergy begins to happen and the cooperative components are being gathered and you are in a cooperative mode, you are called.
That's
and
beautiful.
Others who watch you, obsessed with it, think that you're being driven. And maybe you are from time to time, but mostly you're being called.
Beautiful distinction.
It makes all the difference in the world.
It does. This year I decided to be more quiet. Something about 2018, I let go of any angst. I thought that was beautiful, by the way. Thank you for that. And I have enough momentum going where I just let it all go, and the prosperity keeps coming in. I've been very quiet, a bit recluse. And I have a beautiful lake. I happen to live in Asheville, in the mountains, and I walk down to this beautiful lake every day. I've been there for quite a while. And it's about 2 miles, and it's just this amazing, beautiful nature walk that I do every day. And I sit on this bench at the very end of the lake, and I'm quiet. I meditate. I look at the scenery out in front of me. It's quite extraordinary. One day, a little bird landed on the railing. And I was like, okay, this is interesting. And then it kind of fluttered around, and I had the impulse to pick up a stick. And it landed on the stick. I was like, whoa. And then it flew around it, and then...
And the bird says, so much for being reclusive.
I had the impulse to stick out my finger, and it landed on my finger. And then I was like, this bird wants to play. It landed on the cell phone in my hand, and I was like, I can't take pictures of you when you're on my cell phone. So I got pictures of it, and it was the most extraordinary feeling. I came back for a week, and I looked it up. It's a olive-sided flycatcher, and it was a female, weighs about 6 grams. And I was like in a different dimension playing with this little bird.
Well, those are the operative words. I was tuned in, tapped in, turned on. I was pure positive energy. I offered no threat whatsoever. I was in vibrational harmony with source, and so was the bird. And law of attraction brought us together to revel in the beauty of one another. That's how it works.
I was in Asheville at a seminar with my sweetheart at the time, and there was this young gentleman. He worked for NASCAR. He got up in the hot seat. He wanted a Porsche, and you said, hey, it's in his vibration. He wanted a Ferrari, I think, as well. He was a 27-year-old-ish, beautiful black man, and we got to know him after the seminar, went to lunch and things, and we kept in touch, and he even talked about working for me. I was having a seminar at the Biltmore and other places like that, and up until the week before my seminar, he was so excited, and he didn't show up. And I said to her, my sweetheart, oh wow, he's not going to show. It's really too bad. And I never heard from him. Turns out his name was James Bowser, and he had died. Is that how he got his Porsche?
He took the fast ride. Yeah.
He's here now.
That's the nice thing about all us dead guys. That's the most significant thing to know about those who've made their transition. They're still eager and interested and living and loving life and eager to play with you. It's especially nice if you have some point of interest that you can focus upon. composers flow through musicians, and magnificent master painters flow through artists. Genius men of math and physics and science flow through scientists. In other words, so much insights come to those who are physically focused from those who've gone before. But not because as humans you need that past information. It's just a sort of jump start sometimes to the new that will then come. There's a constant and eternal collaboration between what's physical and non-physical. And humans are on the leading edge of all of that. So when you're open, when you understand that there is no closed door other than a door that you close, that it's always open from the other side, when you are in that open frame of mind and expecting to receive. But you got to be in the receiving mode for that. In other words, in the same way that that bird came and demonstrated your openness, that bird was not demonstrating its openness. That bird was demonstrating to you your openness. And it's that sort of openness that gives you access to receiving impulses and thoughts. You see, non-physical. Well, we'll speak specifically of your inner being. Your inner being knows right where you are in your physical environment, in your physical creation. Knows right where you are in relationship to all that you are still asking for that is in the vortex. All that is in the vibrational version of becoming that has not yet manifested where you can see it. So your inner being knows how to guide you, and these are the most important words, through your path of least resistance. We could say, and you might think it's more positive, through your path of most allowance. But either way, through your path of least resistance. And we like to say through your path of least resistance because we want it to be all right with you forevermore while you're physically focused to have some resistance. We want you to manage your resistance. We want you to understand your resistance. Some resistance is really helpful. Let's say that you really don't want something to happen. And when you think about it happening, it feels terrible to you. That means you are resistant to the well-being that you want. But let's say that you really want something to happen and you find yourself feeling some resistance, and you recognize that that resistance is holding you back. In other words, you want resistance when you're moving in the direction of what you don't want, don't you? If your car is headed down the hill into the bay, don't you want brakes which cause some resistance? Resistance isn't a bad thing. You just want to be able to manage it. You just want to be in vibrational alignment with who you are mostly. Some resistance is helpful, otherwise you'd all skid off the road. And everything that's true about the physics that you understand is true about everything that we're teaching too. So your inner being wants you to get accustomed to this life experience and accustomed to the way thoughts feel and accustomed to the way they feel as you are specifically thinking. And then before you know it, you'll have a handle on when to really let it go. If you're going 100 miles an hour and you hit a tree, it's a much greater problem than if you're going 5 miles an hour. But it's way more fun to go 100 miles an hour. So the key is to go 100 miles an hour with no resistance. But until you've got that down, go 5 miles an hour. And your inner being knows what your resistance level is and will never inspire you to go faster than your resistance will allow you to be well. How about that? Your inner being is not going to give you a great idea that you're not ready to handle. Your inner being knows right where you are. Isn't that magnificent guidance? And expects your resistance to become less all the time and your expansion to become more all the time. You have this perfect co-creative partner.